look back in hindsight, everything is 2020. In hindsight, we make mistakes, we're learning from it. In hindsight, yesterday and your tomorrow. In hindsight, is so much clearer now.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Hindsight the Podcast. I'm your host, Lee Jones, and today I'm thrilled to be joined by Josh Polgardi, the founder of Tripoli, a new app that's set to revolutionize the way we network. Now, as business owners and professionals, we've all been there, attending classes, networking events, collecting business cards, and trying to make meaningful connections in a room full of strangers. And it can be exhausting, overwhelming, and frankly, not always effective. But what if I told you I knew a guy, right? So before we dive in, let me read this. Let me give you a quick rundown of Josh's impressive background. He's held leadership positions in Blue Cross Blue Shield and Acuity brands, where he developed some awesome strategies to engage customers and promote products effectively online. And in 2022, he left the corporate world to join a startup digital marketing company as VP of Operations and Accounts. He led a team of 7 copywriters, designers, and developers. And in August of 2023, he took the entrepreneurial leap and founded his own business, Tripoli IO. Welcome, Josh. How you doing this morning?
Hey, Lee. Thank you very much for having me. I'm a listener. I'm a fan. And so this is pretty surreal for me.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on, because networking was really new for me. And I was given some tips from different organizations that help veterans transition from the military. And I'm really excited to hear what you have to say and definitely understand a little bit about what Tripoli is going to bring to the table. So before we jump into all of that, where are you calling in from this morning?
I am calling in from the great state of Tennessee, a little town called Chattanooga.
Chattanooga, Tennessee. I've been to Tennessee once. So how's the weather there?
Yeah, the weather's great. My wife and I just took a walk. I enjoy getting out in nature. When I'm, sort of prepared to speak about something, I kind of want to sort of disappear and walk outside. We go to the park nearby, and it's just like there's just 100 people out there all of a sudden because the weather clears up. You start to get into the low 60s, and people crawl out of their winter hibernation.
It's pretty nice here. I'm in California, and it's 47 this morning. I got to walk my dog whether I want to or not in the morning. So he gets me up. We go about 5:30. Gets me an opportunity to do the same thing, assess my day, get things prioritized. And then at night, I have to take him out again. And that gives me a time to decompress and kind of, take stock in what I did that day and mentally prep for the next day. So that's awesome. So are you from Tennessee?
I'm originally from Atlanta.
Okay.
A Southern guy, but a little bit of a weird one. Like I didn't feel like I fit into Southern culture when I moved there at the age of 5 and grew up there. My mom's from Michigan.
Okay.
So kind of have that Midwestern sensibility, and my dad's Hungarian.
Oh, wow.
So he didn't fit in at all, for the first 10 years of his life. He didn't speak the language.
Right.
So we found ourselves in Atlanta, and then I went to college close to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and couldn't stay away, and moved back here in 2010. So I think I can say accurately that I've lived here longer than anywhere. And I tried to get away, man. Like I tried to explore other places, and I realized, oh, hey, everybody's coming here because this is the place to be for kind of folks like me who are looking for a slower pace, and we don't want the whole hullabaloo of Atlanta and traffic and all that stuff, but you still have a PF Chang's,
So Tripoli, let's just jump right into it. Now you've got a lot of things, and we can talk about, or you can bring it into the conversation on maybe some ideas or strategies or some ahas that you've had throughout your professional career that led you to this place. But let's talk about Tripoli. What led you to want to create this app, and what are the benefits?
Yeah, of course. Well, there's this notion that somebody's career trajectory is very rarely linear anymore. It's fewer and farther between that you get the I went to high school. I went to college to become a lawyer or a doctor. I became a lawyer or a doctor, and I retired as a partner at my firm at the age of 66. It's rarer and rarer, and in a weird way, I'm jealous of those people because that is not the experience I've had. It's been a little bit more wayward, not in a negative sense, but in a sort of, it's been a little bit more serpentine. It's
right.
You find yourself young with certain aspirations, and then either an opportunity will open up off to the left, and you have to sit there and think about it. Do I take this opportunity? And if you do, it sends you down that path. And so for example, I had a lot of really good teachers and professors in my life, which I was really grateful for. And it may have been a delusion of grandeur, I don't know, but I thought, hey, I think I have enough IQ points to rub together that maybe I could go on to grad school, maybe I could be a college professor and have that same impact. And the feedback I got was that, hey, you're this close, Josh, you're this close to being a good PhD candidate, at Baylor or something.
Right.
And I couldn't quite get it for a couple years. And after, $75 an application and, taking the GRE over and over again and increasing my vocabulary, but not in a way that gets me into grad school. Right. I decided to pursue a different route. And so fast forward 20 years, and I've had a couple different careers, from everything from, frankly, window cleaning. I ran a window cleaning company in Chattanooga. And I loved it. Still the best job I've ever had, but I wasn't going to retire doing it.
Right.
So everything from window cleaning to working at gigantic corporations like Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, and then Acuity Brands. Two things occurred to me, and one was no opportunity I ever had as somebody outside of this like linear career progression. No opportunity I ever had came organically from me. It was always a referral. It was always somebody reaching out or somebody responding to a request of mine. It's like, hey, I'm looking for a new opportunity. So there's that. Okay. And then secondly, it's that this notion of networking has gotten so muddy over the last, 10 years with social media, LinkedIn, and everybody going digital, that I'm not sure who I know and who I don't know anymore. If I've got 500 plus followers on LinkedIn, I might like have met in person or have collaborated with before 50. Like it's getting weird. Like, so July of last year, the time came for me to leave corporate America.
Okay.
And I had a moment of confidence in my decision, but a little bit of panic in what was going to happen next. And like all people, we reach out to our network, or we go to LinkedIn and try to figure out if there's going to be some opportunity there.
Right.
And I realized that I'd spent 20 years building my network the hard way, which is you show up, you go to work, you try to be friendly, you tuck your shirt in, you smile, you maybe suck up a little bit, you do all that stuff.
Yeah.
But you're fishing, right? Like it's not, and you don't even consciously know you're doing it. You're just trying to be a good company guy or a good army guy. Mm-hmm. And you're trying to be the kind of person that adds rather than subtracts. And then you look back in hindsight and you go, okay, well, who are these business allies that I've really developed over the years? And it's guesswork. Like it's sometimes you get lucky and you become friends with a doctor. And I haven't done that yet, but I would like to meet a doctor. And other times you just go, I don't know who my network is. I don't know who my business allies are. I don't know who to call when I need a hand with something. And I don't know who to call me or, who considers me the kind of business ally that they can call. So I know I'm filibustering quite a bit here, but all of that is to say, that the notion of networking is I think most people don't know how to find it, and it's gotten really awkward with social media and LinkedIn. And we built and are building Tripoli in a way that can kind of blast through that stuff. There's a demographic of people who are interested in meeting other people in a sincere way. And if you try to do that on LinkedIn, you're going to get weird looks. And who's this guy? Like, why is he reaching out to me? He likes my work in this realm. What's he trying to sell me?
Right.
You know, we're trying to facilitate conversations between people who want to meet other people in their field or outside of their field, in a way, in an environment where that's the expectation. Because I think there's a huge demo of people out there looking for that instead of all the LinkedIn nonsense where you have 10,000 followers. And what does that get you?
Right.
A marketing asset.
I tell you what, I appreciate that. I got 2 follow-up questions for you. One's going to do a hindsight and take you back. But let's do that first. So why did you have to leave corporate America? You said you got to a point where you had to leave.
Yeah, sure. Well, there was my entry into corporate America was healthcare, and my background was marketing. And I needed to take the next step in that career progression, which led me to Acuity Brands, which was a fantastic experience and wonderful people. And then I'm ashamed to say, after 4 months in my time there, I got the opportunity that I'd been looking for all along, through my network. Again, somebody referred me to somebody, and this guy had the coolest marketing agency around that I'd ever seen. And I thought, that's what I want. Like, I want to be the guy with the hat on backwards, like smooth talking, Gary Vaynerchuk type, walk in and schmooze a little bit and just kind of be cool for the first time ever.
Right. That's awesome.
And at a certain point that went south for convictions, for moral convictions that I personally have. And I said, I need to part ways with this company, because we're not handling clients the way that they deserve. We're not handling their budgets the way they deserve. And this will be a losing proposition in a couple years. No matter what I do.
Right.
So thankfully I took the advice of my wife, who said, hey, we're looking to have kids soon. There's no way you're going to jump ship and go solo if we've got a bun in the oven. Okay. So I said, all right, you're right. Let's take the risk. We won't go bankrupt in the next 6 months. Let's see what old Josh can put together.
Right.
So that was my exit out of the corporate world.
Okay. And then you talked a little bit about social media networking and LinkedIn networking. And I guess I got more of a point. I do look at requests that come in, and sometimes I'll check it, and a lot of times I'll exit because it's more like a place for people to pitch. And when I went in and initially got into LinkedIn, it was a place to connect. And then maybe it'll blossom into an opportunity to do some sort of business. But now it's just right off the bat. Like, they don't, hey, thanks for checking. Yes. I have this proposal. What do you, and it's like, just delete. Right. And it's kind of frustrating. So to hear that you're, Tripoli, because I was kind of trying to understand what Tripoli really brought to the table, and you'll tell us a little more about it. But I'm sorry, I told you I was done with this code. You'll tell us a little bit more about Tripoli. But I was just wondering what would be different, right? And you kind of alluded to the fact that people will go into it knowing that this is a business relationship type vehicle. Right. Where you can, hey, it's nice to meet you, Josh. Hey, it's nice to meet you too, Lee. I do this, you do that. And you can, whatever. So you'll tell me more about it because I don't really know. But I'm intrigued. So tell us more.
Well, thanks, Lee. I would love to. So when it comes to, here's an example. I know a guy, he's got 6 businesses.
Yeah. And
he knows the most powerful people in town, and opportunities spring from those relationships. Yeah. He gives to them and they give to him. And I've always been kind of perplexed by that. It's like, I'm not a Vanderbilt or a Rockefeller.
Right.
It's like, I don't have these relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Opportunities weren't flowing naturally from the kinds of business relationships that I had. And I think a lot of people experience that when they think about networking. And then when somebody says, hey, you need to be better at your networking, they don't tell you what that is. So somebody like me 5 years ago would have gone to LinkedIn and said, well, you need to like some stuff and comment on some things.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows, maybe you'll find a kindred spirit, and maybe opportunity will flow from that. It'll be an opportunity for you to be generous with your time and resources to this person, and vice versa, which is how I define networking.
Right.
But that rarely happens on LinkedIn. They're amazing at many things, and I'm an admirer. But where I will critique them, and hopefully not pick too big a fight, is to say the spirit of networking, which is to find those business allies, those business friendships. It is incredibly difficult to find those relationships on that platform.
Mm-hmm.
It is more of a public relations, list building, audience building, brand building, and sales platform than it is hey, I stumbled across one of Lee's posts and he seems like a cool guy and I'd like to get to know him, and maybe he's open to that.
Right.
And we'll find out. So that's one option that you have is to go digital with your networking and hope that you can reap the benefits of that and form some real business relationships. The other option you have is to go to networking events, our chambers, having a meet and greet or in a presentation, and you get to rub shoulders with people, which is terrifying for some. As an introvert, I have to push through my own barriers to walk into that scenario alone. Showing up in the first place is very challenging.
Yeah.
And then secondly, showing up and hoping that you get to just build a community out of these people is gambling with your time. And more often than not, you find yourself pinned to a column by a drunk guy in a cowboy hat who's a close talker for 45 minutes, and you meet nobody else.
Right.
And which happened to me 2 months ago. And so we're swimming in this awkward digital tea of misplaced or misunderstood expectations.
Right.
And so what I wanted to do with Tripoli was to form an app where the conversation starts online and then finishes or proceeds into real life.
Right.
So for example, we want people whose expectation is to meet other people one-on-one and in person. So our app works in a way such that you sign up, you understand that your expectation is to meet one-on-one and in person. You pop open the app, and then it's all about the map. So for instance, I live in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I could pop open the app. I can browse through Chattanooga, Tennessee and say, hey, who's interested in one-on-one meetings? I'll filter for that. Who's interested in mentoring or being mentored? And then we're also going to include more traditional events for businesses and organizations that want to host events as well, because I think that's also an important functionality. But
okay, go ahead.
The point being is when the expectations are aligned and you have a group or a demographic of people across the United States who are genuinely interested in building more business allies in their network, we think that you could do that in 6 months rather than 20 years like I did it.
Right. Like most, right?
Yeah.
Hey, so, when you go to, you said sometimes it's a lot of times it's nerve wracking, right? Some people are natural, people, or whatever you want to call them. And you go to these events and you always talk about your elevator speech or your elevator pitch. Does that incorporate that elevators? Is that part of your profile, I guess, in Tripoli? Does that make it easier to approach a person and receive a person because those things are there, and now you don't have to try to memorize and sound inauthentic sometimes in your when you're meeting people. Like, what is your thoughts on that? Just the actual connection.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it does come down to that profile, which is to say, hey, I'm Josh. I'm a marketing guy of 10 years. Here's what you will get out of a meeting with me, which is A, friendly, B, curious, C, just interested in you and interested in the prospect of meeting you and what opportunities for both of us can spring forth from that engagement. And if you don't like that about me, if that doesn't interest you, just move on to the next profile and see if the next guy or gal who's open to meeting one-on-one at the Starbucks downtown, see if they're more interesting to you. And yes, there will be a certain amount of posturing on the platform. You got your headline. It's like, hey, I'm Josh. I'm a marketing guru.
Yeah.
I've scaled brands and all this stuff.
Right.
And there will be some of that, but tell me if this resonates with you. I'm naturally intimidated by those people. Like, I take them at their word when they say they are what they say they are. And then when I meet them in person, I go, oh, this guy's like, he's the most pleasant dork I've ever met. And I like him. And it's like, no bravado. He's shorter than I thought he was. And I didn't, it's like, and all the weird posturing just sort of drifts away when you meet in the same space over a cup of coffee or a beer or whatever you want. And you get to know the person. Right. And that's what we're trying to facilitate. And I don't know if I actually answered your question.
No, you did. You did. I appreciate it. I'm gonna be frank, and I'm gonna be real with you. It sounds like swiping left and swiping right. It sounds like Match.com, but for business owners. Right? Is that that way? Is that the concept? Not saying that you're matching up, but is that the concept in a sense? Right? You get to weed out some individuals that don't really fit in that network that you're trying to be a part of or grow, right? And you get to find the perfect one as well and lean in a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, to a certain extent, there is a sort of business dating aspect to it, where you do get to be selective and choose who you would like to meet with today versus who you'd like to meet with next week, and you have your whatever your priorities are.
Right.
You do get some selectivity there and option there.
And the beauty of that is a lot of people already know and are comfortable with that type of platform, right? So I think it would be easy to navigate and manipulate, and also just mentally navigate it, right? And have an understanding of what their outcome is and being able to, figure out what that is and then seek it and get it. So I love it. I love the idea.
Well, go ahead. Lee, before you move on, I just had a thought.
What's up?
I was at an event recently where a sort of an acquaintance of mine, he sort of scoffed and said, "Wait, you're not? It's not like the Tinder of business networking, is it?" And I'm naturally a little self-conscious, and I was like, "No, it's nothing like that," And then I was like, "Wait, why would I be self-conscious about that or insecure about it?" Which is why your question sort of made me think twice. And I may have hesitated a little bit because you're exactly right. That is what it is facilitating, which is you get X number of years on this planet, and a lot of your happiness and joy comes from the people you spend the most time with. And if you can fast forward the process of finding those people, why wouldn't you do it? And why wouldn't I be proud of that? So
it's a proven method. Yeah, it's a proven method. When is Tripoli coming out? I went on there. I signed up for the wait list just to, test it out a little bit. And when are we looking to launch it? I'm getting invested in
it. We are targeting the end of this month for beta testing. We're developing this wait list of people who are intrigued by the idea. And we definitely want to do a robust beta testing cohort, so that we, when we release it to the wild, we've got some good feedback there. So we'd love to have you join that program as well, Lee.
Oh, absolutely. Well, my email is in there, so you just let me know. Put me in, coach. Put me in. So you did marketing as well, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So tell me about marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking it back to hindsight,
Yeah.
I've made a whole series of good decisions and bad decisions in my time, and I think we all have. But one of the best decisions I made was to lean into a skill set that I had that I hadn't really been utilizing up until that point, which was I went to school to study history,
Mm-hmm.
which meant I knew how to write.
Mm-hmm.
And at a certain point, I left the window cleaning world, which I loved.
Mm-hmm.
And I said that this isn't, I need to start over,
Mm-hmm.
and I was 28 and I said, hey, I'm going to do a little bit of traveling. I got a few nickels, saved up, and I'm just going to try to figure out what to do next.
Mm-hmm.
And I did some traveling. I got wrongfully arrested even in the Czech Republic and spent the night in jail with 4 other dudes. Yeah.
All right. So you got to just tell us the story. I mean, you can't just say that and then just roll right by it. So
it'll be a little anticlimactic.
Okay.
Unless
fine.
you're in it. So the I was 28 and honestly well-behaved guy. I don't like breaking rules. I really don't like busting out of the prescribed box of the way I'm supposed to behave in society. And this one night, had a couple beers and came back at 9-ish to the hostel and decided to go get some pizza around the corner in downtown Prague. And 2 of my buddies, like I didn't know them, but I knew them from the hostel. They come running around the corner like, hey man, we got to go.
Right.
I was like, what? Like I'm like 6'2", 230. Like you getting chased down by some dudes. Like I'm not, we'll be okay. And they explained to me that a tram station in around the corner, it's like a bus stop, but 5 times bigger and longer. It's just, and it's completely enclosed in glass.
Okay. Nice.
They explained to me that the whole thing had shattered. So I was like, oh, well, like, why are we running from that? And so that sounds cool. So let's go check it out. And they were like, all right, man. So by this point, there were 5 of us and we ran the corner and like all stupid young guys, we just enjoy seeing a little bit of carnage. And it's just a bunch of broken glass on the sidewalk in the heart of Prague. And, I had every intention of going, okay, cool. Now I'm going to go get some pizza. And just in time for just the biggest, scariest, flak jackety, automatic rifle toting Prague SWAT team.
Right.
They show up and they point at us and they go, did you guys do this? And we're like, what? Oh no, we're just here. Yeah. And they were like, shut up, get up against the wall, put your hands behind your back. And then,
wow,
fast forward 30 minutes, I'm sitting in a Prague jail cell with 4 other dudes just kind of going like, what is this life all about? Like, I guess, what do we do now? And so fast forward to the end of the story and they let us go. And we were even friends with them by the end of the night. They liked us. Right. And they're like, we're pretty sure you didn't do anything. Right. But we got to see the footage, the street footage. And that comes out at 8:30. Yeah. And it's Prague and it's former, Eastern Bloc Europe. So everything's a little bit slower and a little bit less technical. There was a moment where I thought I would be in jail for a little while because it turns out I looked a lot like the guy who was sitting in the tram station when it broke. But thankfully I was wearing different clothes. So they were able to rule me out. But at a certain point, you get the police chief looking you up and down, trying to figure out what you look like for 30 seconds. And then he disappears for 30 minutes. And you're like, guys, call the embassy.
I know.
I'm gonna need somebody to bail me out. Tell my mom I'm in trouble and I love her, but I'm in jail in Eastern Europe.
And ask her to send some pizza. No.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm still hungry.
Okay. Now that was pretty. It wasn't anticlimactic. It was pretty good. You got out, so that's a good thing. All right, go ahead and finish the other part about marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so I think I was talking about, a series of good decisions and bad decisions. And at the time, the decision to restart my life felt good and bad at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But what it did was it sent me down this path of, first freelancing and then, contracting with an agency. And that propelled me into Blue Cross Blue Shield and then Acuity. And then fast forward to now. And that very hard decision, which looked like a mistake at the time, grew me in a field that all of a sudden you look back and I've got 10 or 11 years helping brands, grow their, first of all, awareness and then interest online. And planting that seed, which is to lean into a strength that you think that you have, was what set the table for me to quit my job last July and say, hey, I'm tired of building other people's businesses. I'm going to build my own.
Right.
And I'm going to see, what happens.
Right.
And I'm going to succeed or fail in spectacular fashion because I'm going to ride these into the ground. And,
right.
And so the way marketing plays into that is it's a really interesting question because everybody needs a consultant.
Okay.
So I can tell you my thoughts and on how you should run your business and what strategies to pursue and what even is a strategy, and what is a plan. A plan is not a strategy, things like that. But it's really hard for me to do it for myself. Like counselors need counselors because they're too close to their own stuff to make their own decisions.
Yeah.
So what's fascinated me most about my specialty, which is marketing, is that I still struggle with marketing myself.
Wow.
I still struggle knowing what to do with my own products. And it's been a really fascinating revelation. And by the way, humbling, because I've got friends in the field who go, hey, why aren't you doing this?
Yeah.
And I said, of course.
Yeah.
Of course I should be doing that.
Yeah.
I was too close to it.
Yep. That's it.
So, and a lot of good ideas have come out of the awareness that comes from marketing as well. If any of your audience is in this field, is you start to find real problems in the marketplace, and the ones that frustrate you the most may be the ones that are your guiding light for what a good business opportunity for you might be.
Right.
For me, it was networking. I wanted a stronger network, and I couldn't break through this digital barrier standing between me and the most interesting people in the world. How do I do that?
Right.
Create a place where that happens. So that's me doing a little expository on my background and decision making and hindsight there.
Can you share some tips for the listeners who want to build a strong personal brand in their industry?
Okay. So, there's so much there. I mean, so much goes into a brand. It's not enough that you solve a problem. It's not enough that you have a widget that does something. The real core behind a brand is your why. And does that why resonate with other people? I'll do a shameless plug here. So I've explored the notion of branding extensively because my wife and I just launched a consumer brand in the sheets business. And I don't have a passion for sheets. I never did. And in fact, as long as I had sheets, I was okay. Like, I don't know, I'll change them. I just consummate bachelor. And until I discovered a problem that had a big why behind it. And that was about a year ago. I was listening to a Mike Rowe podcast, the Dirty Jobs guy, and he was interviewing a gentleman who quit his job to exclusively build beds for kids who didn't have beds. And I thought, that's interesting. I didn't know that was a big problem.
Right. Yeah.
I thought about it for a long time, and it struck me that there's, we actually got this guy on the phone. Like it's just unbelievable. It was like me meeting a hero. I actually got to talk to this guy who started this foundation that builds beds for kids. And now they've got close to 400 chapters across the United States, and they're building like tens of thousands of beds each year for kids who don't have beds. And the magnitude of that blew me away.
Right.
And I wanted to do something about it. I said, this company needs sheets, tens of thousands of sheets each year. And that is something that they pay for out of pocket. And that stands between them building a bed and delivering the bed is a set of sheets. And I said, I can solve that problem. Where if you buy a set of sheets from us, which by the way, they're awesome. I don't sleep on anything else. They're a good product. But secondly, we're taking the Tom's model and the Bombas model, which is we're going to donate a set of sheets of the same material and quality to this organization. So that kid has the same shot at being rested and having a successful life as you do. And the why behind our brand was retail therapy is more than what this knickknack brings you, what the latest iPhone brings you. Imagine how you would sleep if you knew that a kid out there was sleeping better because of the purchase you made. Now that's retail therapy, is doing good with the dollars that you spend.
Right.
So when you're thinking about branding, and I don't know if you meant personal or business, but when you're thinking about branding, the problem you solve is huge. You know, ask Steve Jobs. But the why behind solving that problem is even more powerful. And I really spend a lot of time with my clients going, hey, you're not getting to the heart of what the actual why is.
Right.
I understand your client's problems, but you got to get to the why, because that's where all the gold is.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Looking back on your journey, what advice would you give your younger self just starting in a career?
What advice would I give myself just starting my career? People preach that entrepreneurship is for everybody, and it is not. But if you have an inkling that you could be one, become one as soon as you possibly can. All of the skill sets are transferable. It doesn't matter what you're selling or what service you're providing or what problem you're fixing or your why.
Right.
All of the skills are transferable. And there are two realities, you know, in the very linear career path, which is fantastic for some people. It's very measured. It's very incremental. It's time intensive. And if you show up and you do the right things and be an asset to your company, you will have something that looks like a vibrant, financially secure life. And that's good. On the other hand, if you're interested in taking the risk, I would say get in as soon as possible. Even if you're just selling keychains online, just go through the process of selling keychains online, because all the pain points are the same. See if you can figure out what it takes to get your audience to be interested in your product. And that is just, it rounds out your experience. It makes you a more responsible person. It helps you, it makes you more empathic because you understand your customers. It builds you as a more complete individual when you take that leap and really take ownership over a project like that.
I love it. So I asked you a few questions, but right now, is there anything that I haven't asked you that you'd like to talk about?
Let's see. I would just say, you know, the main thing that I'm focused on right now, and I want people to join in me with, if they're interested, is I'm trying to pursue a balanced life that has joy in it. And a lot of that joy comes from the people that surround me. And I want more of those people.
Right.
And we think that Tripoli is going to be a platform that helps people make those relationships easier, and get you to sort of that third date with somebody faster, where they go from acquaintance to friend. We think will happen a lot faster on our platform. So if I may do another shameless plug, is we'd love to have people join the wait list for when we launch and go live. And we're really excited to see how this resonates with people.
And where can they get on the wait list at?
Yeah, absolutely. Find us on the internet at tripoli.io. That looks like tripally.io. And there'll be an email field there, and just pop your email in. You'll get a automatic email. Check your spam. And then we'll be off to the races soon with beta testing.
All right, sounds good. I love it. And one last thing, you said your wife was selling sheets, and you had the choppers therapy,
retail therapy.
Retail therapy. So where can we find those at? A link for the sheets, or where can we get involved with that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Find us again on the internet at luffsheets.com.
Love
and
Sheets?
There you can see our select Luff. That's Luff.
Luff Sheets. Okay, good. Let me write that down. Luff Sheets. I love
absolutely.
it. Okay.
Yeah. There you can find all the information about our mission and what we're trying to do. Since we reached out to this organization, Sleep in Heavenly Peace is what they're called.
Okay.
We have also reached out to about 10 or 11 other organizations that are much more small and regional. But they're building, one of them's trying to get 1,800 beds out this year. And it's like, Oh my gosh. All right. I have all these partner organizations now. We just launched 2 weeks ago. Like I'm on a mission to sell sheets so I can start delivering pallets of twin sheet sets to these organizations.
Oh man, absolutely. Well, it sounds like, just talking to you, I like you. I think maybe we've already jumped to friends, and I'm keeping it real, because I look at people and, some of the things that they're doing and just hearing the why, right? You articulating the why on certain things, it makes you think, I want to know this guy or this gal a little bit more, because that's a pretty cool why, right? To help kids, the bottom line, help kids get beds who don't have beds. Like that's pretty cool to me. And then also it seems like you have empathy, right, for the people, and you have an awareness as well that having the right people around you. I used to always tell people, and this is where I'm trying to get at, if you can hear me.
I can, for the first time ever.
Sometimes you mentioned it earlier where you were in marketing, but you sometimes miss things because you're too close to it. And that really happens all the time. And surrounding yourself with the right people to help you navigate when you're in relationship stuff, business stuff, because you have blinders on when you're in it. And you need someone who you're comfortable with, someone who you trust and respect. You really need a strong team around you. Like I said, personal friends, business associates, things like that. And just hearing you articulate that, it just really resonated with me to continue to want to build the right team, the right circle, around you so that you can stay on the right track. All good tips. This is your one special final tip on anything. What you got for us?
Okay, so this is my favorite. My favorite comedian says you can measure the quality of your life by the look on people's faces when they see your name pop up on their phone.
Oh, I love it. I love
because
that.
we have those people in our lives where we go, oh, not Lee again.
Yeah.
Or, oh, Lee. Yeah, nice. I'd love to talk to Lee, and so I'm trying to live a life again that's filled with good people and joy, but that's also like measured by that one unmeasurable statistic, which is how do I make people feel when my name pops up?
Oh man,
if people thought about it that way, it'd be a little different out there.
That's beautiful. That really resonates because I think it probably resonates with everybody. Oh Lord, here's Josh again. What does he want? More sheets? Come on, Josh.
Absolutely.
I love it. That is perfect. All right. And Josh, I really appreciate you coming on the show. I know we had some technical glitches here and there, but we made it, right? I think we got some good messages out there to the listeners. And lastly, I know we did Tripoli. If there is someplace else where the listeners could reach out to you, is there a place or is it just Tripoli? But they can reach out to you, learn a little bit more about you, maybe connect with you on the next level type thing. Where would that be at?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn. I'm very friendly on there, as opposed to many people. I please reach out to me, Josh Polgardi. And Lee, I just want to say, I feel the same way about you. I feel like we would be friends very quickly, if not already.
Yeah.
Your voice is so unique and insightful that I'm mourning that I didn't get to hear more of it in this call, but hopefully folks understand.
Yeah, hopefully. If not, I'll next time we'll do this again. I'll boost up my networking signal some kind of way. I guess I got to get those plug for Eero and whoever that is, right? Networking, whatever it's called. But thank you for coming on. It's really been a good conversation. I've really enjoyed listening to you as well. Tell your story, how you got arrested for breaking glass in Prague. No, I'm just kidding. But how you went through that stuff. And thank you once again. And much success. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Tripoli looks like, how it benefits me personally, and then the community that it builds as well. And like I said, continued success. If you need anything, reach out to me. If you need me to plug something, let me know. Okay.
Thanks, Lee. You are the man, and I would be happy to do the same for you and plan to. So thank you, sir.
Thank you. And I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, buddy. See ya.